If you've been struggling with consistency or shaky aim, I have two mouse pads for you guys today. These are the refresh coming from Zowie of the GSR, which is the GSR 2, and the GSR SE Gris. These are two mouse pads that I've always kept in my rotation, even with all the artisan pads and lethal gaming gear pads. These have always been a mainstay in my collection. So Zowie's done a few quality of life changes to these mouse pads. So I'm going to tell you today who these are for and who they're going to benefit the most, and see if these are worth the $35. So let's start with the GSR 2. It's got a smooth, comfortable surface just like the first one. The stitch edges seem to be slightly smoother to the touch, even though they have the same type of stitching, which you don't really notice while gaming and your arm is going across them. The logo is now red, which distinguishes it from the first one. The base has also changed. It's not as slippery as the first one. It has more of a matty type feeling instead of like a slippery type consistency. Even though I did find the original one to be one of my favorite bases, this one just takes it a step further and it just doesn't move on your desk. It's quite insane. Now they've also added in like a denser material. When I squeeze both, the new one feels slightly denser than the old one, almost like an artisan mid, whereas the older one is more like an artisan soft, if you're familiar with that. I believe this leads to the mousepad feeling a bit faster overall than the older one. Another quality of life thing that they've done is that they've changed how humidity affects this pad. They say that the moisture kind of falls down now instead of being trapped on the surface, and after sweating and being in a hot room for a little bit, I can confirm it is better than the original one. Now the reason why this was huge on the first one is because it turned the first one into quicksand, whereas now it just feels like a regular mud pad. While we're on the topic of speed, this mouse pad gives you a nice, clean, crisp, accurate movement. The dynamic friction feels better than the first one. It just feels a lot smoother and not like you're fighting against the mouse pad, and the static friction is roughly the same. One area that this mouse pad has improved on is like the micro adjusting. So before it'd just be like you're stuck. Now you can get those small flicks more accurately without over flicking because you're fighting your mouse pad, which is nice. It's way more crispier and it doesn't feel like you're stuck in the mud. Now, if you're somebody like me that struggles with shaky aim and jerky aim, you got to try this out. It's amazing. Compared to some other mouse pads, it is quite slower than the LG Saturn or Artisan Zero, but I'm not mad at that. We need these control pads. Now, one thing that I noticed is that the X and Y are different. Going up is a lot slower. I don't know if you can hear that. That's up. This is to the side. Look at that. It's different. You can just tell by me running my finger over that. One thing to note is that these are cloth pads. They are not the polyester like on the Saturn LGG or the Artisan pads, but even my old GSR has still held up. So it's cloth, but some of the best cloth pads that you can buy. So who is this mouse pad for? Like I said, it's going to be for people that struggle with shaky aim, that play quick timing games like Valorant or CS2 now. About to say CSGO, CS2. I probably wouldn't go as far as to use this for track heavy games with this mouse pad. You can use it. It'll take some practice. Not the best, but the next mouse pad we're going to look at is going to be way better for track heavy games. Quickly moving on to this new GSR SE Gris. Now, if you have the Rogue, it's pretty much the same thing. This is just a recolor, but I will go over it again. It has a nice base on it, just like the GSR 2, so it's not going to move around on your desk. It's got a smoother surface in the GSR 2. It's not coated like the original GSR SE, and it does have that heat pressed type of surface on it that is a bit smoother, and it's so comfortable for your arm. It doesn't have those fibers sticking out. Everything is kind of compressed down, so when you're swiping, it just feels so smooth. Your arm's not going to be catching on fibers or through the weave. It's really nice. So for you arm aimers out there, this is one of the best mouse pads that you can buy. I mentioned that in my arm aiming video, so go check that out if you haven't already. The speed is on the medium side, so it's going to be good for tracking games or hybrid type of games that have tracking and flicking in it. The dynamic friction is very, very fast and fluid, while it has a solid amount of static friction. So stopping power is nice and steady, and the tracking is very nice as well. In terms of speed, I'd put this right above the Saturn but below the Zero from Artisan, if you're familiar with those. And it's very similar to the Vaxi PA. These two mouse pads are two peas in a pod. They're very, very similar, but durability wise, I find that the Zowie pads are better than the Vaxi pads. So do I recommend both of these? Hell yes. Both of these pads are great. I love seeing more control pads on the market that are actually true control pads like the GSR 2. And if you love the original one, you're going to love this one as well, because I believe they have upgraded the mouse pad as much as you can do on a mouse pad. Like, there's only so much you can upgrade on a mouse pad, and they tackled some of the issues that the original one had. You know, what can they really do? Change it to polyester, but then the speed is going to change and be a lot faster. So not much you can do to make the GSR better. And I think they've done a good job of making it better. And you guys already know what it is with the GSR SE. Great medium speed pad. Love those. It's a mainstay. And this Gris most likely will be my main mouse pad moving forward. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for my time on the GSR 2 and the GSR SE. If you have any more questions, let me know down in the comments below. But until then, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with a friend. All right. Oh yeah, it has been your boy BT saying peace.